Although adrenaline sports are not for everyone, some of us appreciate the sense of being in the ocean so much that we pay for a deep dive with sharks. Others ascend to the sky in the hopes of jumping out of a plane and plummeting to an almost certain death thanks to the Earth's overwhelming gravity, only to be spared by a thin covering of nylon fibers. Here are top 10 of the craziest skydiving scenes Hollywood has ever produced for those of us who prefer our death-defying antics to be kept on the silver screen. Number 10. Deadpool 2. Our favorite vigilante has just enlisted the help of a mishmash of superheroes, including a surprise appearance by Brad Pitt. When Deadpool is still in the plane, the affably named Peter informs him that the gusts are too severe to make a safe landing. As the gang is pulled apart by difficult landings and tragic finishes, this proves to be true. When the posse first steps out of the plane, they adopt a basic skydiving formation called tracking. Surprisingly, it begins with a realistic jump before spiraling out of control. The wind spins them around like lottery balls in a tumble dryer till they meet their exaggerated horrific end. Surprisingly, this scene unfolds virtually exactly as one might expect. Number 9. Get Smart. Agent Maxwell Smart, played by Steve Carell, who looks like a cross between Hitman's Agent 47 and Michael Scarn, has excelled himself once again in terms of stupidity. He gets evacuated from a plane in mid-flight without a parachute and with his hands tied, due to a series of terrible and painful occurrences. While Carell is soaring through the stratosphere, and Hathaway's Agent 99 has enough time to equip herself with a parachute and plunge after Smart, spotting him between the clouds. Enter the stereotyped evil guy, who rips the chute apart, letting them to tumble back into danger, and devises a scheme to liberate them from the villain's grasp by kissing him and sending him plummeting to his death. This enables her to deploy her backup chute and save the day. Number 8. Mission Impossible: Fallout. Tom Cruise is well known for performing his own stunts. Although it may not be everyone's cup of tea, there's no denying that being your own stuntman has a huge cool factor. Regardless matter whether the job requires him to jump over buildings and break an ankle, or the reckless jump he performed as Fallout as Ethan Hunt. There was no CGI employed at the beginning of the jump, as you can see. They even made Tom a special face lighting, oxygen supply outfit out of components from a C-17 plane so he could leap from more than 20,000 feet. When lightning strikes Ethan's companion, it becomes a race against time, space, and the very real threat of a panicked audience. Ethan barely has a few seconds to deploy his own suit after attempting to resupply his buddy's oxygen and finally flipping him over so that he may deploy his suit. Number 7. Charlie's Angels: Full Throttle. Whenever you come across a list of cinematic stunts, the Angels are almost always included, and skydiving is no exception. In the first scene, we see LL Cool J, who enters first class calmly and orders a scotch, blended, straight. He and his mark then get down to business, exchanging code words before he hands over a handful of diamonds. LL wants to see the bomb, which isn't Lucy Liu's backside this time, but an actual explosive device that was slipped on board a plane after 9/11. LL leaps into action, removing the terrorist from his seat and escorting him out the emergency escape. Then there's the traditional no-shoot, free-fall catch-up, and hold-on maneuver, which is one of Hollywood's oldest tricks. They arrive safely in a boat piloted by Cameron Diaz, who is dressed in summer attire. The Angels laugh and smile, and suddenly LL Cool J reveals himself to be none other than Drew Barrymore. Drew is cunning. Number 6. Point Break. The bank thieves take a dive into the open sky in the film that some believe to be Keanu Reeves' breakout film, leaving Reeves' Agent Utah trapped on the plane with no parachute. That's right, you guessed it. Keanu no-parachuted after the bad guys, plunging head first without protection and yielding to the pressures of the situation. He may thank Zeus for spotting his prey, ignorant of the chase, floating to Earth and grabbing his hand. They play a dangerous game of cat and mouse with the Earth and a gun until Keanu finally gives in and pulls the chute, just in time to save their lives. They survive the fall, winded and with suspected bone fractures, only to fight again the next day. Number 5. Godzilla. Godzilla, often known as kaiju, is a Japanese monster that has been terrorizing the world since the 1950s. The 2014 adaptation is no different. As giants battle it out, a group of American troops band together to attempt a Hail Mary pass that might decide their destiny or the fate of the agitated giant as they fly high above the clouds in the clear. The soldiers fire flares and smoke signals and perform a halo leap, which stands for high altitude, low opening. They descend into a metaphorical hell where monsters abound and people flee, fight, or lament the fact that they may never be able to keep up with the Kardashians again. Number 4. Along Came Polly. This sequence involves a base leap from a skyscraper in Los Angeles, which is technically not skydiving. Although the film is set in New York, obtaining licenses for base jumps in the city is extremely difficult. As a result, the shoot was relocated to Los Angeles. A more accurate depiction of a base jump, particularly the humorous components, is also uncoded in its reality, unfortunately. Aside from the fact that his pack lacks a chute, which is an obvious issue to spot if you are a seasoned jumper or want to see the stunt through, the leap is very conventional. The unfavorable tree landing even results in a coccyx fracture. The possibility of a fractured bone is relayed by walkie-talkie, which adds to the realism because base jumpers frequently communicate via two-way radio after a jump. Number 3. Goldeneye. Since before most of us were born, James Bond has been getting himself into tricky situations. In Goldeneye, he attempts to catch up with a nose-diving plane by riding his motorcycle off a cliff. The maneuver was carried out by a stuntman named B.J. Worth, who completed the scene up until James catches up with the plane and boards it. The maneuver, known as plane switching, has been done by experts in which a jumper safely exits one jet and enters another, all while wearing a piece of fabric slung to their back like a possessive monkey. Number 2. Furious 7. When a film has 6 sequels, you can bet the stunts will become virtually ludicrous at some point. Extreme explosions, slides, and skydiving automobiles abound in Furious 7. The crew reverses their automobiles out the back of the cargo plane and floats to the earth, calmly over the mountains of Azerbaijan. One major flaw in the film is that it portrays cargo airdropping as a simple task. The United States Army has gone to great pains to develop systems for dropping cargo without causing damage, spinning out of control, missing its target, or using more landing space than is available. Even yet, landing the plane and unloading the goods on the ground makes more sense. There is no equipment that permits cargo to be dropped on precise GPS locations, and no invention that would make me more proud of the first film's gang of hood rats achieving their goals. Number 1. The ATeam. The tough squad led by Col John Hannibal Smith is hunted by attack drones after being designated enemies of the state, and their plane is shut down. As the crippled jet is blasted apart, the squad seeks refuge in a tank, with 3 chutes allowing them to float to the ground. Unfortunately for the crew, things go from bad to worse as they are discovered and attacked once more. Face, played by Bradley Cooper, emerges from the tank and shoots down a few drones with the mounted cannon before 2 of the parachutes are struck, sending the tank crashing back to Earth with only one safety net. Hannibal notices a body of water and devises a strategy to land in it rather than crash into the side of a mountain by utilizing the tank's turret as momentum to propel the vehicle into the water. They fire a few bullets and crash into a Swiss lake, surviving the adventure. One of the most thrilling and adrenaline-fueled sequences, which qualifies for the impossible list in terms of realism, but surely qualifies for the entertainment list. For the ATeam, it's all in a day's work.